Before Disney bought Star Wars and insulted us all with the abysmal sequel trilogy,
somehow Palpatine returned.
The prequels received quite a lot of hate, and I think a good majority of people viewed Attack of the Clones as the worst Star Wars movie ever made. But having just rewatched episode 2, I'm gonna have to push back on this a bit, because this movie is fucking fun.
You wanna buy some death sticks?
You don't want to sell me death sticks.
I don't want to sell you death sticks.
You want to go home and rethink your life.
I want to go home and rethink my life.
Phantom Menace ended with a young Anakin about to begin his training with Obi-Wan, and you might be thinking that we should see some of this training to help build the relationship between Kenobi and Skywalker, but George Lucas was smart enough to say absolutely fucking not. Attack of the Clones jumps 10 years into the future and skips all of the boring stuff like character development in favor of showing us worm-pooping robots and more political squabbling.
I love democracy. I love the Republic.
Now, like all of you, I love Attack of the Clones for the plot. I mean, goddamn does the plot look good throughout this movie. But in all actuality, the plot is quite complex when you really start to think about it and break it down. For all of you Inception fans out there who went crazy over a movie that had a dream within another dream, get ready for the crazy chain of events that led to Padmé's assassination attempt. You see, Palpatine wanted to kill Padmé, but he didn't want to do it himself. So he asked Count Dooku to kill Padmé. But Count Dooku didn't want to do it himself, so he asked Jango Fett to do it. But Jango Fett didn't want to do it himself, so he asked another bounty hunter to do it. But this other bounty hunter didn't want to do it herself, so she sent her robot to kill Padmé. And even her robot didn't want to do it itself, so it sent 2 worms to kill Padmé. So folks, right here we have a 6-layered assassination attempt, or an assassination attempt within 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 an assassination attempt. Jesus Christ, that took me such a long time to get right. But talk about a complex and well thought out plot. I mean, Interstellar has got nothing on this. Attack of the Clones has more layers than Shrek, in all honesty.
How big your pocketbook is.
And I know that complexity doesn't necessarily equal quality, but George Lucas was simply operating on another level with this one.
I guess I was wrong. There was no danger at all.
I think most people were pretty bummed out when Darth Maul died at the end of episode 1. I mean, he was a great intimidating villain to start things off with, but there was definitely some excitement in the lead up to episode 2 with people theorizing what villain would step in and take Maul's place as Palpatine's new apprentice. And Attack of the Clones gives us a much different lead antagonist this go-around in the form of Count Dooku. And in a stroke of absolute genius, George decided to name drop Dooku in the opening crawl, only to not have him appear until we're over an hour into the film.
Master Kenobi, you disappoint me.
I mean, talk about building suspense and understanding narrative structure.
How embarrassing. How embarrassing.
Lord Tyrannus is a truly fascinating character though. I mean, a fallen Jedi who used to be a Padawan to Yoda, one of the strongest Jedi ever, and is now a secret Sith and apprentice to one of the strongest darkseid users of all time in Palpatine. Now that'd be a pretty interesting backstory to take a look at. Wrong! George neglects this backstory so that he can give the people more of what they really want. And honestly, I can't fault him for it. I do love me some plot. To continue on the villain side of things though, this movie does further Palpatine's scheming and slow climb to power from the shadows. I mean, he was so slick that it would have been impossible for the Jedi to catch on to his plans.
What if I told you that the Republic was now under the control of the Dark Lord of the Sith?
And through the Sith Lord's scheming, we do get the beautiful clone army. Even if you're a certified prequel hater, you gotta admit that the clones provide some of the best moments throughout all of Star Wars. And I know that almost none of them come from this movie per se, and the title is a little misleading because they don't really attack much or get screen time until the very end. But we do get to see them for the first time here, so that has to count for something, right? Also, we get to see the Chancellor finally gain ultimate power and control of the Senate. And how does the ultimate mastermind obtain these powers, you ask? Well, by having the comic relief character from the first movie, with no political experience whatsoever, suggest it to the Senate.
Misa proposed that the Senate give immediately emergency powers to the Supreme Chancellor.
Ah yes, things are going perfectly according to his evil plan. The Senate bought the words of this bumbling idiot just as he knew they would.
What the fuck? This guy? I've never seen nothing like it. This guy is a fucking genius.
Now it's time to address the elephant in the room, perhaps the most iconic line in cinematic history, the fact that Anakin doesn't like sand.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
And I mean, stop him when he's telling lies. Sand is coarse, sand is rough, and sand does get everywhere. I swear every time I go to the beach, I'm cleaning sand out of my car for months afterwards. Real ones understand Anakin's plight in this scene. All my homies hate sand. And I know that people who shit on the prequels like to cite how Anakin's dialogue is dumb and awkward.
I'm haunted by the kiss that you should never have given me.
But for the dudes out there, do you not remember being a teenage boy? Like, everything I said was awkward when I was a teenager, especially when I was trying to flirt with someone.
You're sweating. Relax. Take a deep breath.
The one thing I will openly criticize, however, is the Jedi Council. If you have a functioning set of eyes and have seen Padme, then you know that you cannot, under any circumstances, send a hormonal teenager to the most romantic location in the galaxy with her.
My goodness, you've grown.
Like, you really set yourself up for failure on this one. Whatever Jedi came up with the "you shall not love" rule clearly never laid eyes on Padme. I think we can all agree that an exception should have been made. Would have saved a lot of Jedi lives too. Anyways, if you made it this far, I hope you enjoyed this 100% serious breakdown of Star Wars Attack of the Clones without an ounce of sarcasm. If you did, feel free to check out some of my other misunderstood masterpiece style videos, or some of my Star Wars content. Also, let me know in the comments, what generally hated movie do you think is a misunderstood masterpiece? Until next time, peace.